Hi everyone, and welcome to the Ari Writer channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to be talking about haki, which basically means to have no doubt. This is a concept that was actually introduced in an anime and manga called One Piece. It's one of the most popular ones, and this kind of superpower in this anime is very interesting. What it basically means is that in the world, if you basically have no doubt, you are strong. And this is a concept that I think can apply to real life a lot. So I really have a lot of admiration for the author for creating this concept and for dividing it into three parts. This is, of course, very similar to how the Triforce is divided into three parts as well. So the first kind of haki that we can talk about is called armament haki. And this basically allows people, in of course the story of One Piece, to basically harden their bodies so that they could repel certain kinds of attacks. So if a sword tried to cut them, it wouldn't be able to go through their arm, for example. And it would also allow them to negate certain kinds of powers that come from what's called devil fruits in the anime. If you guys haven't seen One Piece, a devil fruit is basically a special fruit that you eat, and there's so many different kinds in the world. And when you eat it, you'll gain a special superpower. Some people can control elements such as ice and fire, or even magma, and other people can basically do special things like have rubbery bodies, or maybe shrink themselves, or maybe split themselves up into infinite parts so they can't really be cut, for example. So these fruits are called devil fruits because once you eat them, you're never really able to swim in the ocean. If you do ever hit the ocean, then basically your body freezes up and seizes up, and without assistance, you'll basically drown. So it's very interesting that armament haki allows you to negate these powers because these devil fruit powers are very powerful, especially on land. But then the downside is you can't really swim in the ocean anymore. I believe that regular water does not apply to this. So now, the next kind of haki is called observation haki. It essentially allows people to sense other people's auras around them and to slightly predict the future. So there's many different kinds of observation haki, and everybody has different ones in the show, of course. And it's very interesting because we see observation haki being used very early on in the show before the word haki was actually introduced. There's a character in the show that actually does introduce haki, and his name is Rayleigh, or Rally. There's so many ways to pronounce it, but it's spelled this way on screen, so you can see it right up here. And Rayleigh is a very special character. He's actually my favorite character in the entire anime. A very interesting one, and he introduces the concept of haki in a way that was very memorable, and I never really forgot it. The way that he basically was very stoic, and as he explained it verbally, he then closed his eyes, and he said, "Having no doubt, that makes you strong." And to me, that's really incredible because once we take that concept of having no doubt and we then move it on to real life, we can actually see that if we ever doubt ourselves in real life, then we tend to perform poorly. We tend to make mistakes. We tend to feel bad, such as feelings of fear or worry or discomfort. And then the opposite is true about other people, about doubting other people in general. So if we actually doubt other people, then what can basically happen is that if we don't really believe that they can do something, then we may treat them differently. And also, the energy that we exude when actually saying, "Oh, I don't think that person can do it," even though it may not be verbally said and maybe that person doesn't really know that you doubt them, they probably feel it, and it's probably going to affect them one way or another, indirectly or directly. And I find it very interesting that if we think about what it means to doubt, doubt is a pretty bad thing. And the less doubt we have about things, the better. Now, the paradox of this, of course, is thinking that you know everything and assuming that basically you can do anything. Now, obviously, we can't do anything we want to. We're not fourth-dimensional beings. Our ideas cannot necessarily become real. But if we start to believe in ourselves and say, with the right effort, the right knowledge, and through discovering new concepts and ideas and working together, we can eventually do many more things that we're able to do now. And with teamwork and people working together, we can do a lot. And there's so many things that we can start to do as humans. And once we start to work together on that and to trust each other, then I think that things will get better. and people will feel better. And I think that life will be more fulfilling if you have more faith in other people and you empower other people, including yourself, of course. We must start with ourselves and then empower others. So, now, before I get into more philosophical stuff about Haki and not doubting people, there is a third kind of Haki that is only available to some people in the show One Piece, of course. Now, these people are typically born with it, but it gets stronger and stronger as their lack of doubt basically increases and their actual doubt begins to fade, if they had any doubt to begin with. This is called Conqueror's Haki. It basically gives people the ability to use their own willpower, their own desires, to, in a way, intimidate and kind of overpower other people. So if there are people in the show that have no Haki, they don't really know what it is, they don't really have any superpowers, and Conqueror's Haki is used next to them, those people typically will either freeze and panic, or they'll literally go unconscious and faint for a period of time. So it's very interesting how that works and how we can take that analogy and then basically use it in real life. Because sometimes in life we see people that basically they exude this aura of confidence and they know what their strengths are, they know what they want in life, and then when you see them, you start to say, wow, what a role model. This is someone that I admire, someone that I want to get to know and be similar with. Sometimes we see this in a few celebrities. Other times we see it in, some actors here and there. And then sometimes there are people that basically are just good people that we really care for. It could be a parent, it could be a special family member such as an uncle or an aunt that maybe has these really good values and was a good person to you and really helped you develop your own sense of values as you're growing up. And so those people, if they have strong values and they uphold those values through their actions, they probably have very little doubt as to whether or not they should uphold those values and share them with other people. So I think it's very interesting. People that in the show have Conqueror's Haki, basically that face off against each other, basically don't really intimidate each other too much. It basically is just more of a display of what your status is and how strong you are without displaying your strength physically. So it's very interesting, and if somebody doesn't faint and doesn't freeze and develop that sense of fear, then they probably have an equal amount of Conqueror's Haki to the other person that they're interacting with. So the reason why, once again, that Haki is so important to me is because I think that a lot of people in life do doubt not only themselves but other people. I've seen a lot of doubt in regards to whether or not people can overcome certain challenges, or whether certain people of certain races or genders or whatever can do certain things. And I find it interesting because I think that for most of my life I've felt like everybody can really do anything, and why not believe in each other? I tend to be a gullible person that doesn't really think that other people are lying when they tell me something, so I tend to assume that someone's telling the truth. And I think that's a good thing overall. Obviously, I take everything with a grain of salt, and I do consider it, and I do understand many concepts of the world, so if someone does say any kind of misinformation that I know ahead of time, I may either call them out, or I'll keep that in mind and consider perhaps doing some research and just confirming that, and maybe sharing it with them, or just maybe if that person is a bit problematic, maybe avoiding them. But more importantly, I think that we can really start to just believe in each other and say, you can do it. If you want to overcome a certain challenge, you can do it. And with help, I think it makes things easier. And so once we believe in ourselves and then once we help others, I think that pay it forward mentality, I think that's very important. So I just wanted to talk about Haki and to discuss it. Please discuss it in the comments with me, and you can always join my Discord server. I'd love to discuss it there. I think it's a concept that I've known for a while, and I think it's very important. I think it is very important for us to stop doubting ourselves and to begin to believe in ourselves and to believe in each other. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.